entertainment, inspiration, qualitative and informative news, educative program on the go. It's Nigeria's first business radio, Ibr. Impact Business Radio, 92.5 FM. We mean business.
News,
analysis,
reports,
and commentaries on the hour.
In your business interest on IBR 92.5 FM.
you're right to know.
It's 6 o'clock. Good evening. Here's the news at 6 on Impact Business Radio, IBR 92.5 FM. First, the headlines. Bajabiamila says security challenges facing Nigeria are a threat to our foundations. INEC laments low collection of permanent voters' cards in Oyo and Osun states, urges officials to educate the electorates. Federal government again calls on security agencies to crack down illegal refineries in Imo State. And on the foreign scene, brutal heatwave hits India, throws lives and livelihood out of gear with no relief in sight. Now the news in detail. I am Toluwale K. Ali. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, says the federal government has responded to the challenges facing the country by taking certain measures such as increasing funding for the police and the military and recruiting personnel for security agencies, among others. In a statement, the Speaker noted that the security challenges facing Nigeria are a threat to its foundations. Bajabiamila explained that now is the time to address the challenges and build resilient institutions which can withstand uncertainty in troubled times. He expressed confidence that both the National Assembly and the House of Representatives will do everything required to overcome the challenges and deliver the dividend of democracy to the people. Reactions have continued to trail the provision of Section 84 of the Electoral Act 2022 as amended, which called on political appointees to resign to enable them take part in primaries of their political parties. Taiwo Olanrewaju completes the report.
Reactions have continued to trail the provision of Section 84 of the Electoral Act 2022 as amended, which called on political appointees to resign to enable them take part in primaries of their political parties. This is coming as the Minister of State for Education, Emeka Nwadribe, and the Minister of Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, downplayed the provision, saying it is unconstitutional. However, lending his view on the matter, an activist, Comrade Martin Omobude, threw his weight behind the call, saying that any political appointee who wants to contest during the general election must resign before the primary election. Omobude urged aspirants to put aside their personal interest and seek good service.
If you are going for a political position such as the presidency, you should have prepared, should have resigned from your whatever position you are holding long before the election, not even just 30 days before the election. Why do we amend constitutions? We amend constitutions because the purpose of every act is to serve a particular, to solve a particular problem at every point in time. So the present situation we are now, it is better for that amendment to take effect at least months or a year before the general election. I think that's the best thing. If they are making amendments, it should not be a month before that particular, because we all know why many of the people are indicating interest, running into primaries and all of that. Even some people who know that they will not even win local government or even a constituency. They are all indicating interest to run in the presidency, and they are ready to take so and so amount of money for. We all know the reason or the purpose behind it. It's still part of corruption. So that, yes, if you want me to drop for you, this is what you are going to do. I will be targeting another appointment and all of that. If we really want to curb corruption, let it be so and so time, a long time before the election. So you know that you have lost that appointment automatically in the event where you did not even win.
Also speaking, Barrister Toby Fatoki said the Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act is non-negotiable, even as he affirmed that the Constitution is supreme. Fatoki, however, noted that the Electoral Act has caused a lot of commotion.
Section 84 has caused a whole lot of commotion as we speak. You can smell of the ministers saying they cannot resign, they will resign, they will resign. But look at the states. Now there are directives, there are party guidelines. We have the National Assembly, they have the power to make laws for Nigerians. They have the power to regulate our electioneering by making laws that will guide the electioneering process, which they have done. That Section 84 remains the law. Says political appointees. The Constitution is supreme, is the grand norm of all laws. Every other law that is inconsistent with the provision of the Constitution must pave way. The party also has their own guidelines, which says anybody contesting for a position must resign ahead of the primary. So I believe they are still consulting, and I know by the time they get to that bridge, they will know how to cross it.
Meanwhile, stakeholders are of different opinion concerning the Electoral Act, with the case still at the Court of Appeal. Taiwo Olanrewaju, Impact Business Radio News.
As the 2023 general elections draw closer, Nigerians have been asked to collect their permanent voters' cards (PVC) as the Oyo State government records low turnout of PVC collection. The state's INEC Public Relations Officer Olayiwola Awolowo made this known in a chat with Impact News crew. Ayodele Fakhe has details.
Ahead of the 2023 general elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission, during its second quarterly meeting with the RECs in Abuja, had earlier said the meeting will review the engagement with stakeholders on the expansion of voters' access to polling units, as well as preparations for the continuous voter registration exercise, among other things. As much as the expansion of voters' exercise to polling units will enable eligible Nigerians to choose where they wish to register and vote on election day, some members of the public in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, have expressed concern about some grey areas as regards the collection of permanent voters' cards.
I have my PVC, but I'm doubting. Maybe I still have it with me or not, or maybe I've misplaced it somewhere else.
No, I haven't checked. But I already tried to collect the form, but anytime I reach the local government, they say it's not yet okay. It's not already produced. I should come back.
On their part, some other members of the public said they have been able to collect their PVCs.
Yes, of course.
I have collected.
While stressing that many parts of the world have gotten their electoral processes right, some concerned citizens expressed mixed reactions on the level of certainty that the outcomes of the elections represent the wishes of the majority of the people.
I can say it's count or not. From what I saw for the last election that we did, we discovered that my vote was counted.
Well, I can say to some extent it's now it's showing that it counts, because at least in Oyo State, the last voting we had one voice.
Reacting, the Oyo State INEC Public Relations Officer Olayiwola Awolowo expressed displeasure over the non-collection of the permanent voters' card, adding that the registration process since it started has been itch-free.
People have been coming. For instance, in Oyo State, so far we have over 194,618 that have visited our website, which is www.inecnigeria.org. That's where they first initiate the registration. We have over 194 that have visited the website. And don't forget that for the fact that you visited our website does not mean that you have completed the registration. You still have to come to either local government offices, our state offices, or designated registration areas. You know, we are devolving to registration areas now, about 351 wards in Oyo State. So people should take advantage of that to go and register there. Until when you completed or visited these places, then you can be guaranteed that you have completed your registration exercise. So, and also in Oyo State, those that have already completed their registration is running to about 156,425.
While stressing that Electoral Act 2022 alone will not guarantee credible polls, Awolowo expressed the Commission's readiness to conduct the 2023 general elections. He likewise asked Nigerians to not adopt a last-minute approach as regards the collection of the permanent voters' card.
having the Electoral Act is a plus to us. So these are documents that will guide INEC, even the electorate, to ensure that you have a credible election come 2023. However, the fact that the Electoral Act is available does not mean that we should just fold our hands and think that the Electoral Act is enough. People should have a change of mindset. There's nothing wrong with the law. It is the people who should have a change of heart. Don't wait till when the last time when people are rushing. Now is the time for you to come out and mass go and collect this PVC. Without your PVC, there's no way you can participate in the forthcoming general election.
It is important to state that non-collection of PVCs will automatically disenfranchise the electorate from exercising their voting rights in the 2023 general election. Ayodele Fakeye, Impact Business Radio News.
In a related development, the Independent National Electoral Commission in Osun State has disclosed that the residents of the state who registered in the first and second quarter of the continuous voter registration will begin to collect their cards as from next week. The state resident electoral commissioner Abdulgani Raji made this known in Oshogbo while speaking during a workshop on voter education implementation organized by the commission. Raji lamented that more than 300,000 voters' cards are yet to be collected despite the closeness of the forthcoming gubernatorial election in the state. He also urged electoral officers across the state to go back to their various jurisdictions to map out strategy on how to educate the electorate.
Why the Commission is making an effort to ensure that we follow the normal standard procedures and assuring the people that we would, as much as possible, ensure that we are not partisan, we are not going to take sides, and assure them that the elections we will be transparent. But we are also going to, during the voter education, seek for their support and cooperation to ensure that we put hands together.
The Commission has made and continues to make several inexhaustive efforts to enhance the electoral process. There are a lot of innovation, such as expansion of voter access to polling units, recommencement of the continuous voter registration exercise, which for that of Osun State, I'm sure has been suspended because of the election that is forthcoming, and that includes the online pre-registration.
The opening remarks of the President Electoral Commissioner, he has actually made us to understand that while going out to conduct voter education program, we must be able to identify the uniqueness, the cultural affinity, the moral standing of the society we are going to conduct the exercise. Our moral values must be injected.
Still on electoral matters, the resident electoral commissioner in Imo State, Francis Ezeonu, says over 7,000 people out of the 16,000 people registered in the ongoing continuous voters registration exercise in the state will not be issued their permanent voters cards due to multiple registrations. Eze, who made this known today in Owerri while speaking with newsmen, noted that multiple registrations is an electoral offence. The electoral commissioner also explained that the suspension of the exercise in some local government areas is sequel to the killing of one INEC staff member. Eze further called on those who registered in the first and second quarter of the registration exercise to come out en masse for the collection of their permanent voters' cards. Meanwhile, the Osun State government has announced Monday, the 9th of May, as the resumption date for the third term of the 2021-2022 academic session. This is according to a communique issued today by the Permanent Secretary of the State Ministry of Education, Adelani Aderiola. Aderiola said the change in resumption date from May 2 to May 9 is due to the Eid al-Fitr holidays. He urged parents, guardians, heads of public and private schools, as well as other stakeholders in basic and post-basic schools to take note of the new date. The Minister of State for Labour and Productivity, Festus Keyamo, has advised institutions to seek alternative channels of funding government bodies in the face of dwindling budgetary allocations. Speaking at the repositioning of the Michael Imodu National Institute for Labour Studies in Ilorin, Keyamo urged the people to think outside the box in order to avoid being solely dependent on fiscal preparation from government. He noted that industrial harmony is key if the country's national development plan is to be achieved.
So as validators, please, most of the plans I expect you to put forward that will take Minis to the next level must not be dependent on our appropriation. If you don't get to that point in your plan, I'm afraid you'll be subjected to the vagaries of the budget releases. And at the end of it, you will achieve nothing. And nobody will take you serious. So it's important we know that, validators, that we are not just here to rubber stamp a plan. We are here to look at the plan critically and decide on the best direction for this plan to go.
Our vision is good, but we must link it to national vision. And what the new plan with President Buhari has brought to be is very significant, that it talks of building capacity, utilization, bringing by industries, creating 30 million full-time jobs, getting many out of poverty. Now, how does the Institute link to that?
Away from that, the Senate has passed a bill seeking to amend the Terrorism Prevention Act 2013 and to prohibit the payment of ransom to kidnappers in Nigeria. The passage of the bill followed the consideration of a report by the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters. Speaking at plenary, the chairman of the committee, Ibr92.5FM, said the bill seeks to outlaw the payment of ransom to abductors, kidnappers and terrorists for release of any person who has been wrongfully confined, imprisoned or kidnapped. He assured that the amendments to the Terrorism Act will set standards and regulatory system intended to prevent terrorist groups from laundering money through the banking system and other financial networks.
For an act to amend the Terrorism Prevention Act 2013 and for other matters connected there to 2022 had been taken, and the bill is passed. Well, congratulations to the Senate for passing this very, very important bill on terrorism, and it is our belief here in the Senate that this bill, by the time signed into an act by Mr. President, will enhance the efforts of this government in the fight against terrorism, kidnapping, and other associated and related vices.
As part of activities to ensure effective journalism, the Impact School of Broadcasting and Communication, ISBZ, an affiliate of the Impact Group, has concluded its 4 weeks intensive training course for another set of students. Speaking with Impact News Crew, the Dean of Impact School of Broadcasting, Prince Amutajero, noted that the training is to build students who are affected by the ongoing ASU strike. Taiwo Olariwaju has details in this report.
As part of its activities to ensure effective journalism, the Impact School of Broadcasting and Communication, ISBC, an affiliate of the Impact Group, has concluded its 4 weeks intensive training course for another set of students. The training encompasses different aspects of broadcasting, presentation, and public speaking, among others. Speaking with our newsmen, the Dean of Impact School of Broadcasting, Prince Amutajero, revealed that the training is to build students who are affected by the ongoing ASU strike. Amutajero commended the students for showing great enthusiasm towards learning.
Training actually was designed to take care of the students who are affected by the ASU strike, so that they just don't sit there at home and just while away the time. So when we put this together and with the approval of our CEO, we said let's do a 4-week training for them to expose them to the nitty-gritties of broadcasting. And we thank God it's over today. They sat for the exams. And one of the things that we noticed was that they were quite an enthusiastic set. They were willing to learn, they were willing to take in. And from the lectures that they took, I believe that they are on the way to becoming great broadcasters. In the period that we were able to put them through so many things about pronunciation, diction, presentation, audio editing, public speaking, including documentaries, and so many things in the 4 weeks. There was even an aspect on leadership training. One of the participants, Layo Karade, explained that she learnt a lot during the training, less, but got more from the training. She revealed that she was taught the basis of what broadcasting entails, including practicals.
I expected less, but I got more expected. I got more of practicals, just coming to the city and teach you how to present, and of how to be a broadcaster and how to be a presenter. It's not about going to the studio to just present. It's about knowing what it entails, knowing what you should do as a broadcaster. Described the training as a great one and the desire of everyone. He added that anyone that comes to the school will love the teachings and the training.
Great place, and it is a desire of everyone. It's a place everyone will want to be, and it's a nice place. I've learned a lot here, and I've had a lot to myself, so I would definitely ask people. I would actually want them to be here because this place is an idea and perfect knowledge they need to have concerning their lives. No doubt, the Impact School of Broadcasting is an astute school of learning for people who are willing to be a seasoned broadcaster and journalist. Taiwo Olariwaju, Impact Business Radio News.
Over now to the business news for today with Oluwayemisi Okpeodu.
In business, the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers, ICS, Nigeria chapter, has disclosed that Nigerian banks lack the financial capacity to fund the purchase of a seaworthy ship. The chairman of the ICS, Dr. Chris Esoba Ibare, lamented that there has been many shipwrecks on the nation's waterways because Nigerian ship owners did not have the capacity to acquire standard ships. He added that there is no Nigerian bank that can give out loans to buy a good seaworthy vessel because they don't have the capacity, as the standard sea vessel ranges from $350 million to $815 million. He therefore urged the ship owners to collaborate with the foreign counterparts in the acquisition of standard ships. In another news, as poor power supply has been a major challenge in Nigeria, several Nigerians across the country are currently witnessing poor power supply in the past weeks. They lamented about the negative effects of the poor power supply on their daily livelihood.
For the past 5 days now, we don't have light. Since this year, the light has been affecting my business.
2 days on, 1 day off. And even that 2 days, if you calculate the time we are using for that 2 days, it's not even up to 12 hours.
If I must have light in my house, it means I must buy 1,500 naira fuel to run my gen.
When there is time for collecting money, they will now bring the light for like 2 days and start disconnecting us till we should pay by force.
Sometimes you sleep and you wake up only to be told that there was light, and you wake up, you can't find it.
When you are not at home, that is when they bring light. The time you are at home to enjoy the light, after working, come down and rest and sleep well. You couldn't sleep well because there's no light.
You cannot enjoy 3 hours uninterrupted power supply.
The federal government and the power distribution companies need to ensure efficient power supply for the purpose of Nigerians and the economy at large. That ends the business news for today. I am Oluwayemisi Okweodu.
Thank you, Yemisi. It's over now to our editorial review for today.
Vanguard newspaper editorial for today pays attention to Governor Bello's Matawali's wasteful spending. Matawali won the election in 2018 after defeating his opponent, Mokhtar Shehu Idris, whose disobedience to INEC's procedure contributed to Matawali's win. According to the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, Zamfara is one of the poorest states in Nigeria, with its population falling below poverty line. On the contrary, Zamfara State's greatest headache is the political desire to pursue the shadow of religion rather than the welfare of the people. The paper points out that Matawali appeared to have joined the pantheon of leaders of Zamfara with his sudden rush of wasteful spending of public resources. He shocked the members of the public when he unveiled 260 expensive cars as gifts to traditional rulers. He also sponsored over 70 Islamic clerics to Saudi Arabia for the Lesser Hajj to pray for the return of peace in Zamfara. In conclusion, the paper expressed sadness that Zamfara may remain backward until its leaders leave religion to individuals and focus on the people's welfare. On its part, the Guardian newspaper editorial for today places emphasis on the participation of Nigerian governors at the 11th Global Annual Investment Summit in Dubai. It described the participation by state governors as a wasted effort and a total waste of time and resources, making reference to the fact that state governments are owing salaries to workers under their governments. The paper on its editorial today seeks to remind state governors that attracting investment requires patience, tact, painstaking effort, mental alertness, uncommon power of persuasion, and passion to keep the relationship with investors. In conclusion, the paper calls on governors to live up to expectation, which is embedded on their duties as chief security officers. It stressed that the onus lies on them to provide an investment-friendly environment by ensuring the securing of lives and properties, formal education, and enlightenment when needed. That ends the editorial for today. I am Salama Butrus.
Thank you, Salama. Kenny Bamdele is standing by with stories from the exciting world of sports.
In sport, Stanley Eguma, head coach of Nigeria Professional Football League side Rivers United, says fatigue after long-distance journeys have affected his title-chasing team. Rivers on Monday defeated Niger Tornadoes 3-0 to maintain their lead at the top of the NPFL table. Prior to the convincing win over Tornadoes at the Yakubu Gowon Stadium, the league leaders suffered a 1-0 defeat at Sunshine Stars, who made the return to Akure. Eguma currently has 3 of his key players out due to injury, and the longest-serving coach in Nigerian League blamed the league schedule for the injury. Rivers United have racked up 55 points in 25 matches, traveled to Ilorin to face Kwara in their next game. In Europe, Manchester United have been fined over £8,000 after fans threw objects at Atletico Madrid boss Diego Simeone following their recent Champions League defeat. Simeone was pelted with missiles as he walked to the tunnel after United 1-0 loss at Old Trafford. Ralph Rangnick's side were knocked out in the Champions League thanks to a 2-1 defeat on aggregate to Atletico. Rangers 38,000, Liverpool 8,000 were also fined by UEFA. Rangers must pay a total of €46,000 after fans lit fireworks, and the team was deemed responsible for a late kickoff in their 1-0 Europa loss loss to Braga. Liverpool have been fined €10,000 for a late kickoff in a 3-1 Champions League win at Benfica on the 5th of April, with manager Jurgen Klopp given a warning. And lastly in sport, in the National Basketball Association, NBA superstars Steph Curry and Giannis Antetokounmpo demonstrated their talent once again by leading their respective teams to series-clinching playoff wins today. Curry scored 30 points in his 4 starts of the playoff as Golden State Warriors end their place in the Western Conference semi-finals. The Warriors won 102-98 against Denver Nuggets, securing a 4-1 victory. Antetokounmpo scored 33 points as Milwaukee Bucks beat Chicago Bulls. The Bucks earned a 116-100 win over visiting Bulls to reach the Eastern Conference semi-finals, where they will play the Boston Celtics. Curry, who has been recovering from a full injury, made 5 3-pointers, 5 rebounds and 5 assists, setting up a Western Conference clash with the Wolves or Memphis Grizzlies. And that is all we have for you in the world of sport. I am Kenny Bamidele. Good evening.
Thank you, Kenny. On the foreign scene, millions of Indians are experiencing a brutal heat wave, which has thrown lives and livelihoods out of gear with no relief in sight. In a statement, Prime Minister Narendra Modi revealed that temperatures are rising rapidly in the country, much earlier than usual. Also, the nation's meteorological department has forecast a gradual rise in maximum temperatures over most parts of northwestern and central India. While heat waves are common in India, especially in May and June, summer began early this year with high temperatures from March. Oluwako Morinde has more stories from the foreign scene.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres today described war as evil and an absurdity in the 21st century. He said this during a visit to Burundi outside Kyiv, where Moscow's troops are accused of killing civilians during their occupation.
It's a very complex operation. Putin's agreed to it in principle. He's been informed that the details would be discussed during the meetings.
Guterres is set to meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky following his talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin earlier this week. In Africa, the United Nations Humanitarian Coordinator has visited South Sudan to assess needs on the ground and meet people who are affected by the ongoing violence as well as natural disasters. The United Nations delegation visited the camp of Malakal in South Sudan's Upper Nile State. Sarah Besolom-Yati, Humanitarian Coordinator and Deputy Special Representative of the Secretary-General United Nations Mission in South Sudan, calls for a paradigm shift.
What I see going forward is that we have to shift some of the things we do. I would like to see us doing some shift in terms of localization, working more with local NGOs, but also then with cash, doing more with cash and cash-based initiatives.
Women and children, particularly internally displaced women, are more vulnerable and they are at risk of physical harm. The United Nations estimates that 6.8 million people will need urgent assistance this year. And lastly, in Ghana, the push towards community vaccination has increased at a time when the country still faces the threat of rising infections as well as vaccine hesitancy. The government is pushing to inoculate around 23 million out of a total of 31 million people. A community vaccinator, Doretta Kone, says the house-to-house vaccination has really been very effective.
The house-to-house vaccination has really been very effective because most people say when they come to the various facilities, there's a lot of queue, they don't get their vaccines on time, it delays them from going to their various works and all that. But going to their houses, then you continue.
Aichato Sise, Senior Country Manager at a non-government organization with a focus on vaccination and associated issues, describes the Ghanaian government's initiative as a wonderful move.
It's a great opportunity, a great innovation. I think it's the way to go if you want to reach more risky population, like older people, people with comorbidities.
According to experts, vaccine uptake in Africa has been very low. A United Nations report published last month announced that the continent had only vaccinated 15% of its adult population so far. Oluwapo Morinde, Impact Business Radio News.
Thank you, Oluwapo. To end the news, another look at the major items. Bajabi Amila says security challenges facing Nigeria are a threat to our foundations. INEC laments low collection of permanent voters' cards in Osun State, urges officials to educate electorates. Federal government again calls on security agencies to crack down illegal refineries in Imo State. And on the foreign scene, brutal heat wave hits India, throws lives and livelihoods out of gear with no relief in sight. Like us on Facebook and on Twitter at Ibr92.5FM Ibadan, or stream us live on www.ibr92.5fm.com. The news was produced and edited by Mary Ojo. I am Tolu Wale K. Ali. Good evening and thanks for listening.
The very best in qualitative and informative news with educative program on the go. Tune in to Impact Business Radio 92.5 FM. Impact Business Radio. We mean business. It's all about business, entertainment, inspiration, qualitative and informative news, educative program on the go. It's Nigeria's first business radio, IBR. Impact Business Radio 92.5 FM. We mean business.
Ìbàdàn láti Amutajero. Ìbàdàn láti Amutajero. 92.5 Impact Business Radio. Amutajero amugborodun. Nìbàdàn ni. Nìbàdàn láti Amutajero.